Welcome to Robo Success, the podcast that loves robots, marketing, and success. Here we spotlight the innovators building the future of robotics. Hit subscribe, share with a friend, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Robo Success Podcast. Today we have an amazing guest, is Mikhail Abramov. He is the CEO of and founder of the Introspector. And well, he's going to tell us a little more about himself. Welcome to the podcast, Mikhail.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, what led you to focus on data acquisition. So if you can tell us a little more about you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a software engineer in my soul, and for like last, I think, 15 years, maybe a little bit more, I've been doing data collection. Not this kind of data collection for robotics, but there is lots of other data collections in the world that you have to run, like collecting data for like where people are browsing. I mean, there are lots of companies who want to know where you are browsing, like what you are purchasing on Amazon or on AliExpress or wherever, eBay. They want to know everything about your behaviors and your habits, like browsing habits, etc. So I was dealing lots of years with collecting this kind of data. And at some point, I began dealing with data labeling and data labeling for videos and images in KeyMaker. So I've become a CEO of KeyMaker, and then we created another company named Keylabs for data collection, data curation, data labeling, like whatever data, like data something, some word. It's Keylabs, right? And the main idea was there's lots of data in the world, lots of data that people collect for themselves or for training their computer vision models or some other perception models, etc. And they have to store them somewhere. They have to deal with all of that. So we have built a platform for that. And recently, I could say a year ago, I was looking into like deep diving into some industry, and I saw that I thought that I would love to dive into automotive industry, like autonomous vehicles. Because we have all of this, like we call it L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. So L1 is when the person is pretty much a little bit assisted by the system to drive the car, the lanes. It beeps when you cross the lane or something. And L5 is you don't have a steering wheel. And you even don't have like anything. You just sit inside the car and you say, yeah, I need to get to work. And let's stop in coffee shop for 5 minutes. So the car takes you wherever you need and does whatever is needed. So that's L5, and we are at level L3 right now. I mean, the world, and I thought that I want to get to help getting the world from L3 to L4 and then to L5, but then I understood that market was too crowded with giants. So, right, and it's very hard. There's lots of compliances in different countries, different compliances, and all these companies, they don't allow you doing like anything almost, and it's very hard business. I mean, if you can do it, you can do it, but I felt that I cannot, and I looked into something similar but different, and physical AI. Still physical AI, and then I was like, robotics. Like many people told me, robots. And of course, that's my childhood dream, to build robots. I actually did build some robots for myself, drones, robots, RC planes. And I said, yeah, this is the thing I have to, discover.
Absolutely. And well, we were just talking a little before the podcast that now you see robots everywhere, right? Like
Yes.
now people is very interested in bringing robotics to the everyday life, to the workplace, to different industries. And I imagine also, with all your experience, there might be a big difference between how you collect data for a software or for autonomous versus robotics. So could you tell us a little more about that different, that makes to do it for other kind of industries versus robotics?
Yeah, so let's say this for like the easiest data collection is when you don't have a hardware, right? So if you wanna know you wanna know the browsing behaviors of some people, okay, just create some software, deploy it to hundreds of millions of people through their browser extensions or I don't know what, or let them install ad blocking app on their iPhones, and voila, you have data, and you have lots of data from all different places in the world and all different biases, right? So that's pretty easy. I mean, it also has its own problems, but it's easier, right? Now for collecting physical world data, there are many tweaks to that, and let's say for the autonomous vehicles, it's very hard, but it's also very easy in terms of it's very understandable what you have to do. So you take a car, and we know what car is, right? It's a box with wheels, right? And then you put the lidars and all the kind of sensors all over the car in specific places, and it's also pretty much deterministic, pretty much predictable where you have to put them, what you want to see, the dead zones, stuff like that. And then you run the car on the roads, and the roads are also pretty much predictable mostly in Western countries, and not only in Western countries. Road is pretty much very deterministic place to be on, right? It has paint on it, it has road signs. They might differ from geography to geography, or the overall environment might differ. Like you will have palmas in, I don't know, Emirates, and pine trees in Canada, but still the overall picture is kind of similar. So it's predictable. You know what you're gonna get. You just need to get it, right? So in terms of data collections in all of these things, you kind of know what to do. It might be costly, but it's doable. For robotics, it's right now it's a little bit Wild West, and I could say we have two data collection passes for robotics, and then we have simulations and synthetic data, etc., which are kind of additional channels to acquiring data. But the first two ones are egocentric data, where we put camera on our forehead. You can put anything, like you can put your iPhone, or you can put your GoPro Insta360, like whatever camera is required, on your forehead, on your chest, and then you can also put cameras on your thumbs or on your wrists, and then maybe some gloves with points or with tactile sensors, maybe some more things on your elbows, so that you can know that the hand has moved in certain directions, like the shoulder and the elbows, etc. So you don't know. There might be lots of different kind of collections that you would love to run, and then the person has to go like this all the time, like in Minecraft, so that their hands are visible all the time, and they should go and perform certain tasks. They should wash the dishes, they should fold t-shirts, other clothes, etc. That's pretty much lots of that. And another one is teleoperated robotic data collection, where you would have robot hands, maybe full robot, like full body robot, humanoid, maybe just hands with shoulders, and then you have another person standing nearby, holding pretty much same hands with his hand or her hands, like with their hands, and manipulating, like with joysticks, these hands. So they look at what these hands are doing, and they have certain tasks. Let's say they have to cut the apple on the table. So you will take these joysticks and you will manipulate the robot hands to cut the apple. And then when you do that, we collect data from your manipulator, like from the operators, manipulators, from the actual hands and manipulators, and from the cameras that are looking at all of this, because we want to know what really happened, what really the operator tried to do, and then did the hand do the same or did they do something else, right? So there is lots of different sensors around to collect like what happened and how it happened, and actually then you can train your hands to do the same job but maybe better. And I hope I'm not too much.
No, that's great.
Okay. Yeah. And then I know you maybe will ask me about simulated data later, so that's why I'm not jumping into it right now.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly my next question. There is a big debate between simulator collecting real data, right? Like, what are the big difference, and what is a good balance, for a company to say, okay, what should I use, simulation versus real data?
So, okay, there are no answers to these questions. Like, there is no good balance, or there is no, some exact numbers of like, oh man, you have to do like 80% of this and 20% of this, etc. So, as I said, this whole industry doesn't work by the book. It's Wild West. Everybody does whatever works, and also whatever doesn't work, and then learn how to do it better, right? And the thing is that. Every company I spoke to, and I speak to lots of robotic companies every day, like if they don't have money, they begin with simulation. And I mean, if you don't have money, you don't begin with anything. But like simulation are also costly. They are not cheap. They are not like free. They are much cheaper than the real world data, but they're still costly. And NVIDIA does lots of efforts, like it makes lots of efforts to bring simulation to the world and to give simulation tools to the companies so that they can run more GPUs, right? So if you ask, so it depends who you ask, right? If you ask NVIDIA people, they're gonna say, oh, simulation is like, you have to do like 99% simulation.
Yeah.
That's it. If you ask people from the industry, they will say, yeah, it depends on the task, it depends on the robot, it depends on how the moon is relative to sun, right? To night. So,
and I would say also on top of that, depends on the stage of your company, right? Like where are you with your product? Like how much do you really need simulation versus real data in terms of the development?
So yeah, for us, we do not train robots. We help other companies to train their robots. Right, so our main, like Introspector's main goal is to collect data. And later I'm gonna tell you maybe what's the difference between us collecting data and other companies collecting data. But our main goal is to collect the data. We sometimes help with teleoperation as well, and we can also help with simulating data as well. But I can answer for my clients, not for for ourselves. So for our clients, I can see that in the beginning there are two processes actually: the pre-training and the post-training. So on the pre-training level, you want to bring lots of hours of videos, like of examples, to train robot on basic things like how to except of like beyond the dancing, that when you buy a Unity robot and you bring it to your place, it can dance, it can walk a little bit, and it can wave with its hand. That's all. That's more like mostly all it can, right? And most of the other robots as well. So you wanna train it to, let's say, do household tasks. So there are plenty of materials out there in the internet, so you can train the model to do some stuff, and you can also simulate some micromotoric, like dexterity stuff. But then you want to do very specific thing, let's say fixing your car, like changing a wheel on your car, right? So you have to, push up your car, you have to, do all of this wrench movements, etc. So you do post training for that. So you will go and you will collect 100 or 200 or maybe 500 hours of such data. You don't need a lot. You don't need thousands or tens of thousands of hours, and you just do the post training and it can do it, right? So the post training kind of thing, you need more of live data than, as I could see. Okay, again, I like maybe in half a year somebody's gonna see this podcast and say, "What an idiot, Michael, saying that." But I mean, right now, you need more live data for that. For the pre-training, yeah, I mean, you can have. I would say my clients have something like 50-50 for simulated data and the real data from the world. And it's also it's also not only the question of like simulated or not. It's also a question labeled or not.
Yep.
Right? That's like the biggest question, I would say, like much bigger than simulated or not. And then if it's not labeled, then some like other algorithms are being used, right? So they try to look at what happens overall. And if you heard about VLAM, like visual language models and visual language action models.
Yep.
So in visual language model, you actually want to recognize an object. You want to say, oh, this is a glass, right? And it's close to me, or this is something else and it's far away from me. But in visual language action model, you say, I see a danger here. There is a glass, but it can fall down and it can break into little pieces, and then I, as human, can cut my feet with this glass or something like that, right? So you have more reasoning, more explanation, more kind of understanding of the world rather than just recognizing objects.
Yeah.
In the world, right? So in that case, so the VLA, like the models that are action models, you don't need a lot of labeling for them, like to label the objects. You just can show a video of what's happening, and then it can say, oh, I see this and that happening, and then maybe you need to bring some people who gonna do labeling just for the activity, and that's much cheaper labeling. I give you some examples. So let's say you have a video where a person cuts an apple with a knife, and if you want to segment the knife and segment the hands, like by segment I mean the polygon labeling with with real human beings, like they do the labeling, right? So you want to do the knife, the hands, the apple, maybe the other things on the table. It can take you, like, for 1 hour of video, it can take you 50-80 hours of labor time. And labor is expensive. Doesn't matter in what country you do it, even in the country where the wages are lower, it's still gonna be expensive, right? And I mean, it's gonna be like $200-300 at least to label such a video. But if you just say the person is cutting an apple on the plastic yellow board with a knife, like black knife with long, blade, blah blah blah, like all of these things, and you say he does it like, or they do it like from second 8 to second 26, then it can take you like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and it's gonna cost you like less than $1. Right, so there is a lot of
it's a big difference.
Yes, there is a lot. So, and then it doesn't matter whether you simulated this data or you got it from the real world. And in this case, maybe getting it from real world would be cheaper than simulating it.
Yeah.
And we already see lots of cases where filming is cheaper than simulating.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, so in Introspector, we are trying to build a model. So let me tell you a couple things about how Introspector works. So it describes like this point, right? Mm-hmm. So our main idea is that there are lots of companies who can go and film the data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are lots of companies who have crowdsource, people who are ready to film data. Like people who work in auto service can put camera on their forehead and film how they fix a car, and waiters in restaurants can put the cameras and film how they do coffee or bring food on the table, etc. So they do already have all of this. I don't want to step into that, but I see the problem of getting into closed workspaces. Like, how do you get to the factory? How do you get to warehouse, to specific warehouses? How do you get to hotels, restaurants? How do you get into all different kind of, into hospital, etc., to collect data? It's very hard. So Introspector does makes all of these agreements with all of these companies and workspaces, so that they allow us to get in. And they allow us to, and we build some kind of protocols of like, how do we film? Is it our people who gonna film, your people, like the hospital people or the warehouse people who are going to implement filming, and then we will train them, etc. That's the first step. The second step is actually we are building a platform that will help all of these people to ingest what they have filmed, and then it's gonna be tested automatically, and go through some quality assurance processes. And if everything's fine, they're gonna get paid on the platform. If something's not fine, they're gonna get feedback and they will have to fix it. And to your question about the simulation or real data, we want to introduce in the nearest months. We want to introduce a new financial purchase model, which I personally believe in a lot, where you can purchase some data, and then if somebody else purchases it as well on the platform, you're gonna get cashback. So it's like you shared it with these other people, and then another one has purchased it, and three of you are sharing now the price. So they are gonna pay less, and you're gonna get your cashback as well, because it's
it's the same data.
It's the same data, and you did the shared purchase.
Yeah.
Right. So the more people will purchase the same data, the more it's gonna be shared. But you don't have to kind of bring all of the sharing people at the same moment. They can purchase it in the future, and you're still gonna get back your cashback because they shared it with you. So I strongly believe in this model. If you don't need exclusive data. And I already tried to run it with one of my clients, and I see that in this way data might be really cheaper than simulated. Like the real filming data might really be cheaper than simulated data.
No, that's very interesting, because like you say, the other day I was reading this article. I was very amazed about it, that in Los Angeles, they are hiring people, to record the chores that they are doing normally at home, like dishes, folding clothes, all that, to collect the data. And it was like, wow, interesting that now there is kind of a new gig, right? It's very great that you're explaining how you are doing as well. But then I agree, there are more than one company that will need to have the data of how to fold clothes or how to take dishes from the dishwasher, right? So just saying I'm going to be paying for this data that it has been collected, and it needs for other companies makes sense, because there are going to be many companies needing the same data probably.
Yes, and let me tell you one more thing. I have when the red flag has been raised in my head about this whole thing, I got a call from a guy who owns, as he said, 8,000 offices in New York State, in New York area, state and area of New York City. And he's an owner. He's an actual owner. He's not he's an owner. And he called me and he was like, "Hey, I have all these offices, etc." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." And he said, "I spoke with my friend, and my friend told me that data is a new gold." I said, "Okay, so what did you do?" He said, I asked from all the janitors in all my offices to put camera on their head. I purchased this strap on the head, and I told them whenever they wash toilets in the offices, they have to film how they do it." Mm. And now I have thousands of hours of toilet, cleaning, and I want to sell it for me. And I was like, what? And then when I was on GTC a week ago, I met another guy from Brazil, and he owns some hundreds of auto services in Brazil. And he also said, hey, we sometimes don't have cars to maintain. And then I asked my people to go and label data. And I said, like, the mechanics would go and label data on computers, like in the auto service. And I said, wait a second, what do they label? He said, oh, they label what they filmed before that when they had a car. So so the guy is genius. For me, this guy is genius. Like,
What?
people, like whoever is listening to this, if you own a restaurant, a hotel, or whatever, put cameras on your people, pay them some extra money for that, collect that data. You can sell it for really good money. And if you label it, you can sell it 5-10x more.
Wow, that guy is really, really smart. Yeah, I agree. Wow, I will never think about it. Like thinking he owns, car shops, right? You
Yes.
will think he will think more about that instead of like data and then label it. Wow, that's
He
amazing.
is my role model now. How he hears it, I don't know.
Yes, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, no, it's incredible. I cannot believe it. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, yeah, I totally believe, especially now, if we want to see the real robotics doing the real work in the real, workspace in our daily lives, we need data, right? And that data is gonna cost, I would say, is gonna be costing more during these first years of development. But as you say, right, as we keep collecting data, at some point it might be faster to develop a product,
Yeah.
cheaper. And yeah, very interesting. Well, Mikhail, we are getting at the end of this episode. I really, really enjoy it. I love that story. This was the best. I really love it. And well, I don't know if something else you would like to add, how they can reach out to you, if what you can offer to them. So anything you want to add.
I mean, if anybody wants to reach out to us, it's our website. It's introspector.io, or my LinkedIn, Michael Abramov. We are. My main goal is to find solutions, like how to find data for you specifically, right? So my clients come to me with the exact data request, and then I'm flipping every stone on this planet to find a way to to provide this data for them in compliant, legal, beautiful, cheap way, like the affordable way. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Affordable way. Yeah. So come to us. We're gonna solve your data problems. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it sounds you're doing something very cool. And I really enjoyed this